You're listening to Systemic Error Podcast. The failure was designed.
Trump hustler under fire over his alpha male non-profit diet and missing $1 based on an article by colleague Bonley, ProPublica. Civics for sale, power for hire. P. Hegseth stood inside the National Archives and praised a Florida nonprofit as if it were a civic institution. The reporting underneath that ceremony says something uglier. The group flagged appears far more substantial as a vehicle for political branding, insider patronage, and private enrichment than as an engine of classroom civics. The people with real power. The central fact is not that Nick Adams built a nonprofit. It is that Adams built a relationship network inside the Trump movement, and then got the state to validate it. Trump elevated him. Hegseth praised him. The Department of Education folded flag into a conservative civics coalition. That is institutional power doing what it does best in a corrupted environment, laundering a political operator into a public-minded figure. Adams is not a stray grifter on the margins of power. He is plugged into the executive branch and rewarded with status, access, and legitimacy. Once that happens, the question stops being whether he is merely loud or shameless. The question becomes why the machinery of the Republican state keeps opening doors for him. The nonprofit is the story, only on paper. The article presents a nonprofit that claims to have reached 2 million children and distributed civics materials nationwide, but the financial record described here points in a different direction. Almost no visible spending on schools, teachers, or educational distribution, and a thin paper trail for actual educational work after the first years. That is not a minor accounting oddity. It is the core contradiction. If a charity says its mission is education and its filings mostly show compensation, social media spending, travel, and fundraising machinery, then the mission is functioning as a cover story. The institution exists, but the public purpose is decorative, a family business wearing a flag. The most revealing number in the reporting is not revenue growth. It is a 2024 payout. Adams and his mother collected a combined $587,279, more than half of the organization's revenue. The board apparently did not document the basic safeguards you would expect around executive compensation. No independent review, no comparison to similar organizations, no serious evidence of restraint. That is how private benefit hides inside tax-exempt language. The article notes that Adams' personal books are sold through Flag Store and promoted through Flag channels, sometimes with the proceeds vaguely described as mission support and sometimes directly linked to his own brand. That is not incidental overlap. It is a structure built to merge charity, personality cult, and income stream. The sweepstakes was the engine. The donor operation described here is even more cynical. Flag appears to have leaned heavily on sweepstakes mailings promising a $1 million prize, while the records cited in the article show no evidence the prize was ever paid. State registration appears absent. The organization's filings show no transaction consistent with the promised payout. That is not just aggressive fundraising. It is inducement by fantasy. The pitch is patriotic virtue. The mechanism is gambling. Adjacent bait. And the likely outcome is that older and more trusting donors are stripped of money while the prize remains a fiction. The complaint from a retired senior citizen in the reporting is not a side detail. It is the human shape of the operation. What the framing misses, the weak frame here would be to treat this as a story about one flashy nonprofit that may have crossed some financial lines. That would miss the larger point. This is a political patronage case. The Trump movement did not merely tolerate Adams. It promoted him, celebrated him, and put him in government. Hegseth's praise is not neutral background. It is part of the apparatus that turns partisan operators into respectable institutional actors. The real pattern is familiar. Authoritarian politics does not only rely on open force, it also builds a shadow economy of loyalty, branding, and state-backed legitimacy for people who know how to monetize grievance. Civics becomes a costume, the flag becomes packaging, public trust becomes raw material. You've been listening to Systemic Error. Thanks to Alternate for today's article with the automated voice of Labor's. Thanks for listening.